Games. He's Big King Kill, and welcome back to another tale. We're Undead Pair.
Yep.
Today we're going to be reacting to Ganondorf versus Dracula, or Ganon versus Dracula. It's basically Zelda versus Castlevania. It's the Dracula from Castlevania. I've never touched a Castlevania game in my life, but I have played a shit ton of Legend of Zelda as a kid, and now, basically.
Well, I have played only a handful of Legend of Zelda games. I've only ever fully officially beaten one of them, that being Breath of the Wild. But however, though, I do believe that came out before this came out, and even then, it's hard to officially put Calamity Ganon into a fight, because for that, it's more of like an evil. It didn't really have any, like, it did have like forms, but it didn't have like a physical, like, direct form, if that makes sense.
No, I know.
So putting that into this would probably just, I don't know, probably not be easy, so they probably aren't going to be including any of that, even if they could.
You ready?
Yeah, and as far as Dracula, I know jack all when it comes to Dracula. I haven't played any of the games. I do know, like, he's a fucking vampire, and I do know the fucking legend of some of the Draculas, including Alucard from Hellsing, but I don't know Castlevania's Dracula. So this will be interesting.
Mm-hmm. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
My bet's on Ganondorf, because he's Ganondorf.
I'll bet on Ganon for right now, because that's the only other person I really know on right now. I'll make a more accurate depiction when we get to the fight.
You ready?
Yep.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Fame may be fleeting, and wealth ephemeral, but true evil never dies.
It just comes back with a goddamn second health bar.
Ganondorf, the calamitous demon king of Princess
We'll have
Zelda's
to want to
Hyrule.
come back with a
And
third
Dracula,
health bar.
the everlasting vampire lord of Castlevania. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
They're probably going to include the Castlevania anime, because they did make a Castlevania
Millennia
anime.
ago, in an age-long
Yeah, I did hear about
past,
that too.
the Demon King Demise threatened to pull the world into blood
Yes.
and war.
Until he got his ass slapped by this pointy-eared boy in green.
Undaunted by being, murdered, Demise cursed the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero to be forever haunted by his wrath made flesh. That curse became Ganondorf Dragmire.
Good old Dorf was born to the Gerudo tribe of the desert. Thing is, the Gerudo were all ladies, and Ganondorf was the first male born in 100 years, which automatically made him their king. Because... reasons, I guess? Wait, so he gets to be in charge and has the best odds on Tinder? That's my dream come true. Who could want more?
Ganondorf could. Jealous of the neighboring kingdom of Hyrule's verdant fields, clean water, and not being a godforsaken desert,
Mentally
he
planned to
dreamed of
be
a better
each
world for his
reincarnation.
people.
Or, just for himself.
Well, it makes sense
Being
why
the
with
reincarnation of
Calamity
ultimate
Ganon,
evil
he
means
didn't
you're
exactly really
probably
talk
kind of a
fast.
selfish douche.
And surprisingly, his vile ambitions would be rewarded. Turns out, he was also preternaturally adept at magic, as befits an education from his caretakers, the witches Koume and Kotake.
From them, Dorf learned to pitch balls of electricity, summon lightning, move objects with telekinesis, levitate, form barriers, and control minds.
When he wishes to fight from a distance, he can create phantom horsemen or puppets of himself to battle as his proxies.
Or if he wants to get personal, he can use his dark magic to enhance his physical strikes, making him a badass at all ranges.
He's a master with a blade, sometimes two, and sometimes on horseback.
And
You
sometimes
have no idea how
two
many times I've
swords on
died to
two
that fucking
horseback.
move.
Let's not get crazy. He was just a man, after all, though not for long. With his magical training complete, Ganondorf put his greatest skill to the test, his raw cunning. By manipulating the rulers of Hyrule and its neighboring domains, as well as a curiously familiar boy in green,
Hey, what do you know? Weird coincidence.
Ganondorf gained entry to an alternate dimension called the Sacred Realm. Within it lay the Triforce, a magical artifact left by the gods said to grant the wish of whomever touches it.
The perfect solution to all your world-conquering needs. Except once Ganondorf got his hands on those golden Doritos, two of them jumped ship.
See, only someone with a perfect balance of courage, wisdom, and power can wield the complete Triforce. If someone with an imbalance between those three virtues touches it, it splits. In this case, the pieces of wisdom and courage went to Ganondorf's enemies, Princess Zelda and the hero Link.
Yeah, I was about to say, if
that's
I remember correctly, the
but he
Triforce courage
did get
is
to
Link,
keep the Triforce
powers
of power,
is
because
Ganon,
who
and
needs the
wisdom
courage and
is,
wisdom shit
Zelda.
when you can just blow stuff up? That's how I live.
Even on its own, the Triforce of Power radically improved Ganondorf's strength and magical prowess,
invulnerability.
while also elevating him from a mere warlock to the demon king he was always meant to be.
Literally, he can turn into a big blue pig monster.
The dark beast known simply as Ganon is a nearly unstoppable terror, gaining even greater strength without sacrificing any of his intellect.
As a bacon wizard, he can obliterate foes with fireballs, turn invisible, teleport, summon darkness, and even distort the space around him.
Fuck?
Despite all that power
That's a
and
fucking
even
trip.
successfully ruling Hyrule for 7 years, Ganondorf was soundly defeated and sealed within the Sacred Realm.
Yeah,
There
that's
he
fine.
remained, trapped outside the spaces of reality, a prisoner to the void between space and time, never to return ever again.
Sorry. I couldn't keep a straight face.
Yeah, no, he got out like the next day.
So nothing
Hey,
holds
that's it
Ganon back
now.
for long, and he's insanely tough to kill. In fact,
remember that.
thanks to his part of the Triforce, he's almost indestructible. While most weapons can technically harm him, it usually takes a holy weapon like the Master Sword or light arrows to put him down.
He once survived being crushed within his own castle, which, based on its size and composition here, and accounting for the hollowed out interior, should weigh over 11,000 tons.
Even better, he later withstood a different castle exploding around
I have
him.
no idea what
Wow.
Dracula can do,
Look
so
at this
I don't
guy
know
in
if we can
castle.
stand up to this shit.
By measuring the size of the in-game castle model and assuming violent fragmentation, we can determine it was a blast worth almost 2 kilotons of TNT, a yield comparable to early atomic bombs. And even though holy weapons can bypass his defenses, he still survived being stabbed in the face with the Master Sword. You know, the literal blade of evil's bane.
Or like when he was impaled through the chest by one of the sages after he was supposedly sealed away. He just yanked that shit right out and murdered the bastards that did it to him.
Damn.
Heads up, Wiz, you ever stab me again and that's what's happening to you.
Right.
Damn.
Well, Ganondorf isn't just tough. He's powerful enough to punch shockwaves, tear up an island, and block out the sky with his magical malice.
Plus, he can keep up with Link. He's even killed him in one timeline. And this fairy boy can dodge Beamos lasers.
Which are literal lasers. They move in a straight line, burn instead of exploding, and according to the game's guidebook, are called lasers. So they should move at light speed. Based on the distance Link moved relative to this beam, we can estimate his own reaction speed to be about 11% the speed of light.
Too bad old Dorf Lundgren doesn't get to hold on to Hyrule for too long. Still, you can stab and seal him away all you want. This big pork bastard will always be back to bring about your crispy demise.
In the world of Castlevania, the universe is
Alright,
governed
let's
by
see what
two
Dracula's
opposing
about.
forces, order and chaos.
Hey, it's like you and me, Wiz.
No, I mean literally. As legend goes, for God to be good, there must be an equal force of evil to create balance. An evil found in an alternate dimension called the Chaotic Realm. This is chaos.
But to keep his spot in the balance on Earth, Chaos needed to choose a Dark Lord to represent him, a Dark Messiah, if you will. As luck would have it, a perfect candidate would end up choosing him.
In the 11th century, Matthias Kronkvist was the strategic mastermind behind a company of knights, alongside fellow commander and best friend Leon Belmont.
But as with
Ah,
most
Belmont.
romances, it got screwed up by a homance.
Boomstick, have some tact. His wife died from a horrible illness.
Was it third wheeling? I'm sorry, Wiz, but you can already tell this guy is evil because his name is Math. I mean, I know we use math all the time to do the show, but sometimes one must embrace the darkness to see the light.
Right. Anyway, Matthias's grief was so intense, he swore vengeance on God himself. To achieve his vengeance, Matthias sought the powers of God's polar opposite, chaos.
So he set up an easy 6-step plan. Step 1, pick up a red rock called the Crimson Stone. It'll be important later. Step 2, force death itself to become your personal secretary. Step 3, kill Luigi. Step 4, convince a vampire named Walter to kill Leon's fiancée, cause misery loves company. Step 5, let Leon murder poor Walt and have death shove his soul into that red rock. Step 6, congratulations, you are now a vampire. Goth kids, I hope you were paying attention.
From that day forth, Matthias rejected his humanity.
Throwing
He
away
became
my
a
humanity,
vampire
JoJo.
and much more. He was the Dark Lord, Dracula.
There have been a lot of different versions of Dracula over
Like
the
people
years.
are
I didn't even have
This
help.
one isn't your run-of-the-mill, I want to suck your blood type. This Dracula is the avatar of chaos on Earth, the opposite to
People
God.
say
So
everything
like,
can be a
the
JoJo's
devil.
reference.
He's basically the devil.
He didn't have much time to enjoy his new powers, though, as his former friend Leon swore revenge, a vow which would carry on throughout generations.
But good luck taking down this all-new and improved vampire lord. He's got your standard vampire loadout like blood-sucking, flight, razor-sharp claws, telekinesis, and even tripping balls teleportation.
He can also exert his influence
Vampires
over
with
all living
telekinesis.
things, whether it be mind control, body
mean,
possession, or absorbing the
Alucard
souls and
from House
abilities
Flame
of
was
fallen
able to
enemies
summon
through
mind
his
so it's
power
not too
of
far
dominance.
Oh, like Kirby.
A demonic monster, Kirby.
Right, Kirby. Also, Dracula can shapeshift to his black heart's desire, like into a swarm of bats, a cloud of mist, and a wolf. Oh, I get it. The opposite to God, cause he's a dog just like the way Alucard is Dracula backwards. God, I should do science.
Oh my God.
He's also a master sorcerer, able to summon fireballs, meteors, and acid blood rain from the sky.
Damn.
Dark Inferno is a huge ball of magma that will fry anything in its path, and he can revitalize himself with another's life energy via Soul Steal.
Then
Yeah,
there's his
but he
most
can't do that
powerful
together.
attack, a localized nuke of holy magic, the demonic Megiddo.
With all these powers, it's no wonder Europe trembled at his presence for centuries, though perhaps their fears were unfounded.
Yeah, despite being living chaos or whatever, Dracula was sometimes a pretty chill guy. He even got himself married and had a kid. Then again, kids are
Well,
also the
in
embodiment
most
of
depictions,
chaos.
I like Dracula's mostly.
Sadly, the people of a
Mostly
nearby
evil.
church grew
He became a
suspect of
vampire
his
for
wife,
pure revenge.
accusing her of witchcraft. So they
So I can
burned her
empathize
at
with
the
them, but I don't
stake,
empathize
and
that he
Dracula
kills
swore
people.
vengeance upon the god they followed as...
Wait. Did he just get a total repeat of his backstory? Man, this guy can't catch a break.
Oh shit.
He was even forced to battle multiple descendants of Belmont, many of whom would actually defeat him.
Well, sort of. Turns out Dracula is a much tougher vampire to kill than lame old Walter.
Even after losing his entire body, Dracula's soul remained tethered to chaos. Thus, he would be resurrected every 100 years.
When he wants to go all out, he can draw from the power of the chaotic realm and transform into one of many awesome monsters. Like a giant demon, a giant
remember that
demon
one.
bird, a giant demon head, and a giant demon head in a painting that vomits out bats.
Dracula can punch hard enough to rend stone, move quick enough to catch arrows out of thin air, and even warp the fabric of reality itself.
He's tough enough
Oh,
to
no,
survive
that's
a
fine.
lightning
That's
strike,
fine.
get blasted by an enormous meteor, and even get crushed under the
definitely
weight of his
Brandon's
fortress,
got
aka the Castlevania.
By measuring the size of Castlevania on the game's official art, we know it should weigh around 2 million tons. Even then, Dracula has regenerated his body from decapitation, a mess of blood, and even full-on disintegration.
So how the hell does he keep getting killed by everyone from Discount Conan to the Ghost of Weeb's Past?
Naturally, with the help of holy weapons, which Dracula is certainly not a fan of.
Also, even when he's turned his body into some misty vape clouds, he keeps his head vulnerable. Because video games.
Or more precisely, his hubris. Dracula's blatant arrogance would lead to his ultimate downfall, allowing his enemies to sever his connection to the chaotic realm and thus end his cycle of resurrections. So instead, he was reincarnated.
Into a white-haired anime boy with the power of friendship. Soma Cruz, who turned out to be just as powerful as Dracula Classic, like when he dodged beams of light or when he defeated chaos itself.
Dracula's influence and power would never truly end. Even 10,000 years into the future, his bloodline continues to strike terror into the hearts of men. As long as good and evil exist,
Hold up, that's his kid? What the hell happened to him?
no ordinary man can stand up to the incredible force that is the Dark Lord Dracula.
Except for Ganondorf.
true form and despair!
All right, the combatants are.
Okay, pause.
Mm-hmm.
Head to 1458.
So, who do you think's gonna win now? I'm there, but who do you think's going to win? My bet's still on Ganondorf.
Any particular reason why?
It's Ganondorf.
Well, I know, but let's keep in mind
Great
is that he can still
shockwave
technically,
team.
well, he does get resurrected. Same with Dracula, every 100 years, Ganondorf gets resurrected every so often as well. The death is still going to count as a death. So we got to keep in mind about, like, who is that if Dracula dies, you know, it's over and Ganondorf wins, but he can still come back. Same thing for Ganon. But I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be down to who's more powerful, because each of them can shrug off most of what they can do. Since fucking Ganondorf was able to shrug off
But Ganondorf, I think, has
fire,
the speed.
ice, lightning,
I think
and light.
Ganondorf has the speed advantage.
No, well, no, they both have been shown to dodge light speed attacks. So I don't think that the speed will be there, really, for Ganon. But for Dracula, neither. So I think they'll be relatively even as far as speed goes. But I think this will come down to power. And plus also, does Ganon have any sort of holy, like magic in his arsenal that could even touch Dracula? Because they did say that only holy weapons can touch Dracula. Or not touch, but
no. They
affect
said
him.
only holy weapons can affect him, but if they can, that's in his normal state. But if you take his hubris or whatever, the thing connecting him to the chaos world, he can die.
Well, yeah, but
So
Ganondorf.
Ganon
Will Ganondorf know that though?
It's his head. Ganondorf's just gonna aim for the head no matter what. Ganondorf would chop off his head. He's smart enough to think, oh yeah, let me chop off a dude's head. I think. But without further ado, you ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna bet on Dracula, honestly.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see how they do this one.
I like the art style.
It reminds me of almost like old. It reminds me of like the Wii era style of games. Kinda.
Your castle is lost, vampire. No man can challenge my power.
No, you cannot.
But what is a man? A miserable pile of secrets.
Okay, this is cool so far.
I'm no mere man.
Did he just slap him?
Unknown mere man.
He just fucking bitch slapped this fucker. Oh my god. Way to make your first strike. How should I strike him? Of course, I'll slap him.
Dracula bitch slapped fucking
Your
Ganon,
tricks
and Ganon
may
shrugged it off like it was nothing. Damn.
Well, he is able to summon creatures, so not too far-fetched. Oh, no, it's not over.
No, it's not.
So what's that about cutting off his head? His hubris, you would say?
Yeah, it's hubris. You gotta disconnect it, so you gotta stab him to the brain. Not cut off his head. Come on,
What
Ganon,
you got now, Ganon?
That's nothing. Ganon survived first.
Behold,
Dracula got now.
I am no simple vampire. I am a god.
Oh! Oh?
You're right. You're not a man. You're a pig. Let me hear you squeal.
It's not over
What
yet.
a raw line. It's
Okay,
fucking
yeah.
over. Oh yeah. What a fucking raw line, my guy.
KO!
Pause. Pause. That was great. Oh my god, that battle was great. I just want to at least point that out there. Oh my god. Some good points. Obviously starting off with a fucking bitch slap. Like, Jesus Christ, what a way to start the fight. How shall I start this fight? Shall I use magic? Shall I use my vampire might? No, I'm gonna slap him. Like, what? And that line at the end. You're right. You're not a man. You're a pig. Now let me hear you squeal. Now that right there is a good line. Oh my god. Okay, but let's hear what they have to say. Where are you at?
1917.
Okay, I'm there. Okay, let's continue on in 3, 2, 1, go.
Can learn to drink beers as violently as Dracula drinks people.
There was a lot going on here. Both Ganondorf and Dracula show similar reaction speeds, with only a small % difference when compared to the speed of light. They were both brilliant schemers who have perfectly manipulated many intelligent foes, and their standard magical arsenals seem pretty comparable overall.
But Dracula did have a leg up with a few extra magic powers that Ganondorf just didn't have. Like how he could rip out his soul in a bunch of different ways. That's something Ganondorf never really had to guard against before.
True.
Also, remember how Ganondorf survived an explosion worth about 2 kilotons of TNT?
An admirable feat, to be sure, but let's look at that meteor strike Dracula survived. Based on its size, composition, and speed of ablation, it must have struck with an energy equivalent to 2 megatons of TNT, 1,000 times greater than Ganondorf's proven durability.
But hey, I know what you're thinking. What about that sage sword Ganondorf had? Shouldn't he have had an easy time killing Drac since it's a holy weapon?
In some circumstances, sure. Running this fight over and over 100 times, Ganondorf would certainly score a few victories. But when considering Dracula's absurd regenerative abilities, it would take more than just a few hits from a holy weapon to finish him off. Not to mention, Dracula also wielded a holy weapon that took advantage of Ganondorf's weakness in the form of demonic Megiddo. Yeah, I know it's called demonic, so it seems weird, but it is explicitly described to be holy magic.
And dropping a holy nuke on Ganondorf was a way more powerful victory move than trying to hit Dracula with a sword. And that's really what this came down to, power.
Despite literally wielding the Triforce of Power, Ganondorf's potential paled in comparison to the energy Dracula drew from Chaos.
Oh, it
Let's
seems
put
that
this
the
in
Triforce
perspective.
of Power has been
The
overpowered before,
Triforce of
such
Power
as in
comes
the
from
original
the
Legend
goddess
of Zelda
Din,
and
who
in
made
Twilight
the Earth.
Princess.
While we don't know the exact amount of power Din put in this
I've never
piece,
played the
let's
original
just
and I played
highball it
Twilight
and
Princess,
directly
so-
compare it to
so
her.
yes.
So the energy attributed to the
I still
Triforce
wanna
of
remember
Power
that.
could be compared to the size and energy of a planet. However, the Chaotic Realm is an entire universe.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't the
completely
Chaotic Realm
upheld
an
by the
entire
power
universe?
of the Chaos entity. That is leagues greater than the power Ganondorf possessed.
Oh yeah.
So it definitely had a lot more juice to give.
Try thinking of the Chaotic Realm and the Triforce of Power as batteries, which fuel Dracula and Ganon's abilities. Compared to each other, Dracula would be drawing energy from something like a car battery, while Ganondorf's would be more akin to a small AA.
Wiz, I'll give you $5 if you lick that battery.
Ganondorf certainly held his own, but Dracula's more varied magic, greater regeneration,
That's
and
actually an interesting
enormous
way to put
reserves of
things.
power sealed this desert warlock's fate.
Of all the ways to go, that must have sucked. The Big Pig's chances were slim to none.
The winner is
Yeah, that-
Dracula.
That fun sucked. That was a very interesting battle. I have to admit, that was very interesting. I didn't think I was going to be as interested in it, but looking at it and just thinking about what it could be, especially with Dracula, I actually kind of wanted to see it, and I'm glad that I did. That was very interesting.
Yep.
Do you have any sort of comments you want to put down?
No, it was good.
Do you think many of the points that they made are logical?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this also brings up a good case in point for fricking Link versus Cloud that I at least want to just bring up, at least real quick before we end the video, is that the comparable force of a supernova should be way more than a planet, since obviously in the game, Sephiroth supernova was able to obliterate that said same planet, just in a different reality.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning the Triforce of Courage for Link would probably not give him the same power as Ganondorf, but probably give him defense, probably. So even if it could allow him to have defensive power to block a blow equivalent to the power of a planet, Cloud was able to block the equivalent of a supernova and shrug it off like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm. But, they already confirmed that Link would lose a second time.
No, I know, but I'm just saying for people who are still salty, say like, oh, Link would totally win because the Triforce of Courage is so much more stronger than they're giving
I
it
mean,
now.
if we're going off, wait, I know it's technically different, right? But if we're going off of this, couldn't Helsing's Dracula basically do the same shit?
No, because the way he became a vampire is way more different than, because he just asked literal Satan himself. For this Dracula, he asked the embodiment of chaos in the chaos realm, while for Alucard, he asked Satan from hell. So those are two different.
The only reason I said that is because if he has anything like that, then when he went against Dio, I'm not mad.
No. Oh, no. Absolutely no. I mean, because realistically, yeah, if this version of Dracula went up against Dio, even if Dio could realistically stop time and Dracula couldn't stop that, Dracula could easily just tank that shit like it's nothing. Because Dio doesn't have any holy weapons. And plus, they never said anything about Dracula not being able to operate in the sunlight, so I do believe that Dracula could easily just hold him down until sunlight and just...
Because Dio
Put him away.
can't be in the
Exactly. But, however, though, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do you expect Death Battle reactions for us to come back on May 22nd? Because that is when the Ant-Man versus Adam Death Battle is coming out. So we will be reacting to that, definitely. That being said, if you guys have other videos you guys want us to react to, whether it be Death Battles or other videos of any type, please let us know down below in the comments.
Like
And
and subscribe and come back for another tale.
exactly, we are your Crypt Keepers. See you guys later.